Straight ahead on CCX News, Gridlock Junction. You can see backups for miles during the evening on westbound I-94 in Maple Grove. But what can be done to fix it? We'll take a look. Plus, a fixture in parks and recreation programming is retiring. We'll show you Jan Ficken's impact on Brooklyn Park. But first, the first homicide in Robbinsdale in several years. CCX News starts right now.
Hello everyone, and thanks for joining us. Robbinsdale police are looking for a person who shot and killed a man sitting in a car.
Police say it happened in the 5600 block of 42nd Avenue. Neighbors called police and reported hearing gunshots around midnight. When they arrived, officers found the victim in a car parked in a driveway.
Officers later and Crime Lab later found 8 shell casings around the vehicle, so multiple shots were fired into the vehicle that struck the victim.
Authorities are processing the car for any evidence. Chief Franzen says it's possible that the shooter knew the victim, so they don't believe it was a random act. The victim did not live at the home where his car was parked, but he apparently knew people who do live there. Police are asking for the public's help with any information.
There's some traffic in the area. We're hoping maybe, somebody driving by. There could have been, since it was a nice night out, there could have certainly been somebody out walking or sitting out on their front steps or their front porch or had their windows open. Maybe didn't hear or see anything, but maybe heard something.
A gun was later found on Corvallis Street in Crystal. Police are checking to see if it might have been used in the shooting.
Neighbors saw a tall plume of smoke as a home in Crystal caught fire. The fire broke out in a bedroom of the home in the 3400 block of Florida Avenue around 10:30 Monday morning. A neighbor who is also a city council member says a woman who was inside at the time got out safely.
Police got her out right away, but the fire escalated, and then the trucks were here to help put it out right away. We saw the plume of smoke, we heard the crashing of windows and wood, so we figured they were trying to get that fire put out right away.
Firefighters did knock it down quickly, but there was smoke damage throughout the house. The resident was being comforted by neighbors, and the Red Cross was also there to help. The cause of that fire is still under investigation.
A young New Hope man made his first court appearance today, charged in connection with the murder of a teenage boy over drugs. 18-year-old Armagia Warren is charged with second-degree murder in the death of a 17-year-old boy last Tuesday in North Minneapolis. According to the criminal complaint, the boy had arranged to sell marijuana to 2 women. That's when Warren and 2 other men showed up, with Warren pointing a gun at the boy in an attempted robbery. Prosecutors believe one of the other men fired the fatal shot. Police are still looking for the gunman.
The long-awaited connection between Highway 610 and Interstate 94 in Maple Grove finally became a reality last fall, but it's come with some growing pains.
There has been a few accidents out in that area with the new roadway. I think that's settled down a bit, but it still is creating congestion on the westbound lanes of 94, particularly in the afternoon.
The main trouble spot is the point where the new Highway 610 extension merges onto 94 West in Maple Grove. Since the connection between the roads was completed in November, drivers have complained about traffic backing up for miles during the evening commute. In addition, the crashes on that stretch of road have increased. City officials say that's likely attributed to the fact that drivers on 610 have a short area on which to merge onto 94 West. MnDOT will modify the striping later this summer to give drivers several hundred feet of additional space to merge with traffic.
Over a period of time, it will settle down a bit. It won't help to eliminate the congestion, but perhaps just the awareness that that merge is there.
The city is hoping to secure funding from the state to build an auxiliary lane from Highway 610 to nearby Brockton Lane, but there is no timetable as to when or if that will happen. There are constant changes in a huge road construction project that impacts motorists driving from the northern suburbs to Minneapolis on I-94. Brooklyn Center, the I-94 West Bridge over Highway 252 opened to traffic over the weekend. And on Tuesday, one lane of Highway 252 is scheduled to open, completing the connection to I-94. Now, that's the good news. This weekend, however, closures for the Lowry Hill Tunnel are scheduled to start on Friday night.
3 students from 2 local high schools are honored as among the finest theater students in the state.
Morning glow is almost here.
Palmer Krause is one of the winners of the Triple Threat Award for his work in Pippin and other roles at Maple Grove High School. The award comes from the Hennepin Theater Trust. The nonprofit also named Hannah Tyson, who also played in Pippin and starred as Cinderella at Maple Grove, as well as Eric Dagelberg from Wayzata High School, who performed in Thoroughly Modern Millie. The Triple Threat Award honors young actors for excellence in singing, acting, and dancing, as well as demonstrating community leadership and artistry. They'll get an all-expense-paid trip to New York to meet with Broadway professionals. Brooklyn Park Mayor Jeff Lundy has declared this Thursday Jan Ficken Day in the city.
Well, Ficken, who has been part of the Recreation and Parks Department in Brooklyn Park for 38 years, is retiring. We get more on her long and successful run from Eric Nelson.
I feel good. I feel good about, what we've been able to do during the time I've been here.
Jan Ficken has every right to feel good. She has been a productive fixture in Brooklyn Park for almost 4 decades.
She's really kind of been the building block of, the Park and Recs department.
My main focus has always been on the recreation programming for the department.
Ficken joined the Park and Rec department in 1979, and her fingerprints are all over the city.
From getting Zanewood Rec Center started and, now Rec on the Go, she's going to be missed.
Ficken is extremely proud of the Zanewood Rec Center.
Really, I think her legacy is going to be what she's done for the youth,
which gives low-income kids a chance to thrive in positive situations.
Recreation and police joined forces to get this building open because we were really seeing some decline in the environment for teens in our community.
The Community Activities Center was also built on Ficken's watch. The venue opened in 1984 and became a go-to spot in Brooklyn Park.
And that caused this explosion of recreation needs and programming in the community. It was a young community growing.
Jan Ficken has seen a lot over the years, especially in kids' playgrounds. The looks and the styles have changed dramatically.
The retro look from the 1970s and 80s has been replaced by state-of-the-art play areas.
Parks have changed, parks have been grown, parks have been built.
Brooklyn Park now has 67 city parks, and Ficken says number 68 could be built on a 31-acre chunk of land near the Target campus.
And right now it's being discussed as part of a new large event park.
Ficken's husband Dan is often on CCX analyzing hockey games in the same community center rink Jan helped get built. The Jan and Dan team has done a lot for the city.
We have spent a lot of time at all these facilities through our own personal family activities as well, and proud to see that.
In Brooklyn Park, I'm Eric Nelson, CCX News.
Sports that are emerging.
Jan Ficken says her immediate plans are to spend more time with her grandkids and head to their cabin on Rainy River in northern Minnesota. Not a bad way to spend some retirement.
No, best wishes to Jan.
Yes.
Still ahead on CCX News, after nearly 40 years in the aquarium business, a crystal entrepreneur decides to chart new waters. That's next in Business Matters.
Plus, after playing late in the regular season, the Wayzata and Maple Grove baseball teams meet up again in the state tournament.
But first, sunny and 70s on Tuesday. Celebrating 25 years in business is an accomplishment by any measure.
It is a milestone reached last month by one Crystal small business, and then the business announced it's closing. In this week's Business Matters, a look at why Aquatropics Aquarium Center is closing its doors.
I'm just giving these guys a little breakfast. So these are all Asian koi, and they generally have a pretty darn good appetite when it comes to breakfast.
Kevin McMenemy can tell you everything you ever wanted to know about fish.
This is a parrotfish. It is a crossbreed between a gold severum and a red devil, which in nature, those two fish could never actually breed. So often referred to as the test tube fish.
In 1992, Kevin opened Aquatropics Aquarium Center along Crystal's Douglas Drive. 25 years later, Kevin's business is one of the few small independent fish stores left, with tens of thousands of different freshwater fish from around the world.
The more rare and difficult Plecostomus, Hypostomus, Peckeltaeus, things like that to find, I generally get them in here. So anybody who wants that rarity tends to find me.
Customer Emma Freitag of Crystal came looking for advice and some new fish after her goldfish died.
They have good prices and they have anything for a fish tank, really.
Kevin figures he sold millions of fish over the years, but he's most proud of his loyal customers, many of whom he's helped get started or expand their aquariums.
I'm on third, if not fourth generation of clientele. It's been pretty darn cool. I've got a great customer base. Thousands of people have been through my door.
But now, after 25 years of Aquatropics, Kevin is ready for something new.
I'm actually on my 40th year of selling fish. I'm just looking for that next challenge in life.
He's selling down his inventory and will likely close the doors in August. The news is just starting to sink in with customers.
I used to come here a lot when I was little and look at the fish, so it's kind of sad to see it go.
Kevin's been hearing a lot of that lately, but he knows it's time, and he's feeling especially grateful.
A big thank you to the community. Thank you to all of the people who've ever come in here. I'm sure I'll cross paths with many of them in the years to come.
Well, Kevin has decided to retire Aquatropics. He is flirting with the idea of opening a different business in another industry.
On Tuesday, there's a great opportunity to swap books you have already read with ones you haven't. Robbinsdale kindergarten teacher has organized a book swap that will be held Tuesday from 11 until 1 at Lee Park in Robbinsdale. And the idea is simple. Bring books you've already read and grown out of, and for every book you bring, you choose one to keep that someone else brings. The goal is to get books in the hands of kids for summer reading and to promote community literacy. Any books left over will be donated to charity, and there's also a special need for books written in Spanish for students learning the language. But still ahead, a fun way to enjoy nature in Maple Grove and possibly receive a cash prize.
But first, Maple Grove and Wayzata battle for a consolation championship at the state baseball tournament. John Jacobson is in next.
I'm John Jacobson with sports. State championships are being decided Monday at Target Field, the state high school baseball tournament. Prior to championship day, two of the teams from our area and the Class 4A tournament met up for the consolation title. It was Maple Grove and Wayzata meeting for the second time this season in the consolation final. The Trojans don't waste any time. Will Oberg's liner to right brings in Bobby Isbell. With a run in the top of the first, they'd add another run to go up 2-0 after half an inning. In the third, Wayzata adds to the lead. Charles Engdahl bunts. Maple Grove unable to make the play as Oberg scores. Wayzata gets 3 in the frame to lead 5-0. Maple Grove answers with a couple of runs. Jerome Gooley singles to bring Jensen Erickson home. The Crimson pull within 5-2. But the momentum doesn't last long. In the fourth, Engdahl's sinking liner drops in front of the left fielder. That clears the bases. 3-run score in the play. Wayzata rolls to an 11-3 win, and they take 5th place. The state lacrosse tournament wrapped up over the weekend. One local and 2 semi-local teams were part of the deal. In the boys championship game, it was top seed Egan pulling away from number 3 seed Benilde St. Margaret's for a 19-12 win. That game was tied 5-5 at halftime, but the Wildcats scored 14 goals in the second half, setting a new record for goals in a boys championship game. The Wayzata boys bounced back from a 1-goal loss to Benilde in the semifinals, and they won a thriller over Montemita in the 3rd place game. Braden Nelson scored the game winner in overtime for the Trojans. The girls' championship game was a pretty familiar one. Eden Prairie and Blake have dominated girls lacrosse in Minnesota, and the Eagles have had the better of the rivalry of late. They won 16-10 over the Bears to claim their 3rd straight title and 5th overall. Abby Johnson had 6 goals for Eden Prairie. Well, this week we wrap up another year of covering high school sports on our Sports Jam show. It's the season finale this week. As part of that, Jay Wilcox and I name our all-area teams in both baseball and softball. And here's part of what you'll see.
Will Oberg of Wayzata both pitched and played third base for the Trojans. He was 7-3 as a pitcher with an earned run average of under 2 and 79 strikeouts. As a batter, Oberg hit .300 and led the Trojans in home runs. He'll play in the Play Bowl All-Star Series this weekend. Champlin Park's Max Loban put together a great season on the mound for the Section 5 champion Rebels. Loban finished the year with a 7-1 record. He allowed just 6 earned runs in 58 innings and struck out 54 batters. Loban was all Northwest Suburban Conference.
Rip and a miss.
Osseo's John Bezdacek was a great all-around player for the Orioles. The pitcher, first baseman, outfielder racked up 75 strikeouts in 52 innings of pitching with an ERA of 1.07. He played in every Orioles game the past 2 seasons and was all-conference. He'll play in the All-Star Series and next year at Southwest Minnesota State.
At second base, Maple Grove sophomore Jade Tomaszek quickly became a force for the Crimson after moving from California. A slick fielder, third-team All-Metro pick Tomaszek had just 2 errors and batted .429 with 32 runs scored, 19 RBIs, 8 doubles, and 4 home runs. Another sophomore is our first baseman, Marie Schupanitz of Totino Grace. She earned all tournament honors at state and hit .400 with 25 runs batted in and 2 homers for the Section 4 3A champion Eagles. In the outfield, Lane Ruska of Osseo is a 3-time All-Northwest Suburban Conference pick. She didn't commit an error while starting every game in center field and batted .390 with 2 homers, 18 RBIs, and 13 runs scored. Ruska was selected to the All-Star Series.
You can see the rest of those teams and a recap of the state baseball, lacrosse, and golf tournaments on the season finale of Sports Jam. It airs through Wednesday at 3:30, 6:30, 9:30 p.m. and online at ccxmedia.org. That's all for sports. Mike and Alex, back to you.
All right, sounds good. Thank you, John. Up next, Maple Grove is seen through a camera lens.
We'll be right back.
Well, finally, Maple Grove is seen in pictures.
The city is accepting entries for its annual Maple Grove Moments photography contest. You are looking at last year's winners. Entries are accepted in several categories, including a youth category for those under 18 years old. Photos must be taken in Maple Grove, and the contest is open to anyone who works, lives, or attends school in Maple Grove. Also new this year, there's a viewer's choice prize. So the photo with the most votes is eligible for a $50 cash award. For full contest details, visit the City of Maple Grove's website. Photos will be accepted through July 19th. Beautiful shots, and those are always fun to see what they come up with.
Those are really great, so top that, right?
That's right, good point. That does it for us. Thanks so much for joining us.
And we'll see you back here Tuesday starting at 4.